Taxes. Okay, don't turn it off now. I just say that word and everyone cringes. I just know it. Taxes are so frustrating, but such a huge part of living in the world, and especially here in the United States of America. And a lot of people make their home buying decision based on taxes. I've learned, like, if they live on the Missouri side or the Kansas side, they make that decision because of taxes. If they live in this county or that county, they make that decision because of taxes. But what I found is a lot of the people that are making this decision based on taxes, it's just kind of like a broad sweep and not actually based on hard numbers. And so today what I want to do is really dig into the numbers to help you understand how taxes impact your cost of living and your cost of homeownership in the Kansas City metro. Hey, I'm Rach the Realtor. I'm honestly a lot more fun than this usually, but today we have to talk about the boring stuff of life and make sure that you are prepared next time you make a major homeownership decision. So hang with me. I'll make it as fun as I possibly can. Let's dive in and talk all about taxes. Okay, we'll start with the easiest tax to understand that applies to a lot of people in the KC Metro. And that is the 1% earnings tax that the city of Kansas City, Missouri charges. This can be tax on all wages, salary, wages, any other form of compensation. If you live or work in Kansas City, this does apply to you. Or if you plan to live or work in Kansas City, it will apply to you. Basically, the earnings tax funds a lot of city services that enhance Kansas Cityans' quality of life. So it's really focused on road maintenance, managing the trash service, supporting emergency first responders, and overall community upkeep. So if you live in Kansas City, any income you produce is subject to this 1% tax. If you live outside of Kansas City but work in Kansas City, that is subject to the 1% tax. For example, I'm a real estate agent. I don't live in KCMO, but I do sell a lot of houses in there. Each commission check I earn in KCMO is subjected to the 1% sales tax that a house sold in, say, Overland Park is not. Just one example of it. So that does matter. If, say, you're going to work outside of KCMO, maybe it doesn't make a ton of sense for you to live in KCMO because of that 1% sales tax. But again, it's only 1%. So let's say that your annual salary is $75,000. That works out to $750 per year. Now, of course, you don't want to blow and waste $750 per year, but if the house you love is in KCMO, is a $750 per year difference big enough reason to make a major decision like purchasing a home? For most people, it's not. So that's, again, like, I feel like a lot of people avoid taxes, but it's like, put hard numbers to it. Is that a big enough tax for you to make a major life-changing decision? So that is the 1% earnings tax that applies to anyone that lives and or works in KCMO. The next category is personal property taxes. This one maybe drives me the most crazy of any of our taxes because it's assessed annually on items that you already own. You already paid a sales tax on them, but then you also have a personal property tax. This is not the case in every single state. In fact, Missouri, our vehicle tax rate is the 4th highest in the nation out of all 50 of states and DC. These numbers are coming from Wallet Hub, and this report lists this rate around 2.48%. And Kansas is not far behind. Their vehicle tax rate is roughly 2.04% as well. And that is of the kind of assessed value of your vehicle. And this is not just vehicles. This is boats and even livestock and jet skis and four-wheelers and things like that. And if you move out of the state right after January 1st, so if you move out on January 5th, you're still responsible for the personal property tax from the previous year. What can you do about this, and how does this impact where you live in Kansas City? Really nothing. The Missouri side and the Kansas side isn't that different. It's about 0.5% different. So I guess if you have the world's most expensive fleet of vehicles, then maybe it makes more sense for you to live on the Kansas side. But again, it's like these numbers, they add up, but is that a big enough reason to decide which side of the state line you live on? Probably not. The most important thing is just make sure you know if you're moving here from a state that does not have personal property taxes, surprise, you're going to get a really fun bill in the mail at the end of the year assessing tax on your property that's not your home. This is personal property. Whether it's paid off or not, you still have this tax. So that is the personal property tax on both sides of the state line that impacts everyone that lives in the Kansas City metro. One of the largest taxes that will impact you is real estate taxes. And this is the biggest one that I see people making decisions of, I want to live in this county or this side of the state line or that side of the state line because of real estate taxes. Real estate taxes are a lien against the property, meaning when you go to sell your house, if you have not paid your taxes, you will be paying your taxes. There's title work done that will basically show that. And if you don't, if somehow it slips through the crack with title work, someone has to pay it. It stays with the property. So that is, a little plug here for make sure your real estate agent partners with a great title company, because you do not want that to happen to you. And also pay your taxes, because you will be paying them eventually, whether you pay them now without interest or later down the road with a lot of interest. So how much are property taxes, real estate taxes in Missouri and Kansas? In Missouri, the median effective property tax rate is about 0.97, so just shy of 1%. That is more affordable than a lot of states, according to taxfoundation.org. So here's an example. An average property tax payment can vary a lot by county, though. So it's like when we go by state, it's kind of helpful, but really when we break it down by county, it's even more helpful. So just comparing. Johnson County, Kansas, according to taxfoundation.org, averages around $3,635. Jackson County, Missouri, averages about $2,146. On the screen, you can see a list of all of the counties in the metro area and what their average tax rate is according to taxfoundation.org. All of this is a percentage of your home's value. So something to keep in mind, the more expensive your house, regardless where you buy it, the more your real estate taxes are going to be. But if you want a frame of reference to know which counties on average are more affordable, this is a good one for you. The fourth kind of taxes that impact you if you choose to live in the Kansas City metro area are income taxes. Again, income taxes don't apply to every state in the country. However, both Missouri and Kansas employ a graduated rate income tax system. In Missouri, this ranges from 2 to 4.8%, while Kansas varies from 3.1 to 5.7%. So in this case, Kansas skews a little higher than Missouri on income tax. This is just your state tax, so keep in mind that you also have federal income taxes as well. Those apply across the board though. But in both Missouri and Kansas, the more money you make up to a certain amount, the higher percentage rate you pay of your income to taxes. But on both sides, the highest amount you would pay is 4.8 in Missouri and 5.7 in Kansas. So these are important to know. Again, this really impacts you more if you have a really large salary, which side of the state line it makes more sense to live on. If you do, then in theory, income tax rates are a little bit lower on the Missouri side than the Kansas side. The final thing that impacts taxes in the Kansas City metro area is sales tax. So both Kansas and Missouri have some of the highest combined local state taxes in the country. And again, this tax is kind of funky because it's based on like municipality. So you could be in one part of Kansas City that has this fire department and this library system and this zoo, and then another part where you're still in KCMO, but you have this fire department and you're not in the zoo district, and so on and so forth. So this changes a lot based on your local, super local government. But on average, both Kansas and Missouri have the highest combination, with about 8.65% for Kansans and about 8.38% for Missourians. So again, not a huge difference, but if you're making a major purchase, it is a sales tax. So here's a hack, is find the lowest sales tax in the area and go make your major purchase there. These can vary. These taxes go to things like libraries, schools, the zoo has a tax, like the 3/8 stadium tax that has been a hot topic lately is one of these. So this can change literally like just driving across the street. It can change. But something to know is that ours are on average higher than most other states in the country. The moral of the story is taxes are a huge headache and a huge part of our daily life as an adult. But the difference from one area to another is not that dramatic. Really, most of the time we're talking a scope of hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands of dollars, but it's not like it's a $10,000 difference over your lifetime. Unless, like I said, you're a high earner with 100 luxury vehicles, in which case you may want to get in and parse these numbers apart. But either way, I'm happy to guide my clients and help them understand the difference of sales taxes, real estate taxes, income taxes, personal property taxes, and how that impacts them when they're deciding where to live in the Kansas City metro. As nerdy and boring as this is, it is a huge part of it, and we try to make it fun. So if you're interested in learning more about which part of the metro would make the most sense for you, please reach out. I am always here, just an email or a text away. Hit me up and we'll talk about boring things like taxes and lots of other fun stuff as well. Until then, I'm here on YouTube giving you the scoop on all things Kansas City. See you next time.